we are going to do the next experiment for you. This one is called...
Is salt water more dense than pure water?
Yes. And so we have two different types of water. Here we have...
We poured lots of salt in there.
Salt water here. If you don't live by an ocean, you can create it using regular water. And salt...
Also, don't use salt water because that's what we're making.
Right. So we're going to make our salt water. I just poured salt in here, and then we just stirred it up, and that is our salt water. And you can see that it is hard to see through the salt water. Yes. And then we just have regular pure water over here.
And you can see perfect.
Yes, perfectly. And we are going to use a golf ball. You may use an egg or a golf ball for this experiment.
Or you can use, like...
an egg or a golf ball. And, Jagger, will you put the golf ball inside of the regular water? And what happens?
It sinks.
Right. So is the golf ball more or less dense than the water? If it sinks to the bottom?
It's more dense.
Right. So we know with density, if something is more dense than water, it will sink.
So
and if it's less dense than water, it will do what?
It will
If it's less, yes, it will float. Now we are going to take the golf ball out of our regular water. We're going to put it in our salt water. And you see that what happens?
It's less dense.
It's less dense than the salt water. And it does what?
It floats.
Yes. I'm going to see if I can move our camera so that they can see it. Because it's pretty cool.
Action.
So you can see here, our golf ball is floating. And then grab it and put it in the regular water. Thank you. Okay, and it goes to the bottom. It sinks. And so why is that?
This is more dense because we put salt in there to make it less dense.
Right, we put salt in there and it made the water more dense, meaning that the golf ball is now less dense than salt water. And it goes boom, up to the top.
Boom.
So it's pretty
Science
cool.
Rocks.
Science rocks. Let's have a discussion about our lab real quick.
Baby.
Okay. Why, if an object is less dense than the liquid it is placed in, will it sink or float?
Float.
Float. Good job, Jagger. If an object is more dense than the liquid is placed in, will it sink or float?
Sink.
Sink. Good job. Here we go. The molecular arrangement of salt water and pure water are different. Meaning the molecules that make up this water and this water are different because there's salt in these molecules now, right? Because they made a solution, it's no longer salt and water, it's now salt water, right? They bond together and now we have
salt water.
Salt water molecules, right. So they are obviously different. What physical properties of the water are different between the two types of water because of this? So what changed?
What changed?
Yeah, so if we're looking at the water, what is different about this water and this water?
You cannot see at the bottom of this water.
Right, this water became cloudy, right? So the salt water is cloudy. It looks different. What about if I were to... It tastes different, right?
Taste it, Jackie.
Okay.
Oh, good Lord. It's so gross. So that's a physical property that changed. I regret that fully. Okay.
Let's get off the barf.
So we have, there was a color change. There was a density change because now this water is more dense than this water. And there was obviously a taste change. Can we think of any other things that changed? Me either. In some salty lakes, such as the Dead Sea, it is nearly impossible. It's nearly impossible to sink. Why do you think this is so? So if you were to go and jump in the Dead Sea, it's almost impossible for you to sink in the water. Why do you think that is?
Because it's less dense.
What's less dense?
The
You are.
water.
We are less dense than all water, or
The water is less dense than us.
okay, Junior, why do you think it is that if we went to the Dead Sea, we wouldn't sink in the water?
Because we're less dense than the water.
Right, because the water is probably what?
More or salty.
More?
It's really salty, right? If you go to a really salty sea like the Dead Sea, where there's not any plants that live there because it's so salty, you actually float in the water. Isn't that pretty cool? So it's like this water times like 1 million. Can you imagine what it tastes like?
Ugh.
Ugh. And you will actually float in that water. So it's pretty
True.
awesome because the salty water is
Booyah!
more dense than regular water, so we actually float. Most people are less dense than the salty water in the Dead Sea. Cool. Any questions?
No.
Awesome.
I'll get it.
Yeah, that didn't work, did it? Oh! Oh!
It's not working.
I'll get it.
You want to go get it for us? Oh, maybe. I feel like I can reach it if I get closer.
It's not stopping.